Assalamu alaikum. Now we'll continue solving the rest of elastic collision problems. Before we continue solving them, I would like you to try solving these practice problems yourself. After that, you can check your answer, or if you have any difficulty solving any one of these questions, check the answer and the explanation in these videos. Now, we read the question, and after that, as we learned before, we fill all the information, all the given in a table, and we start solving the question. So I have a 16 kilogram canoe moving to the left. So this one is moving to the left. When it tells you moving to the left, it means the velocity is negative. This is the first object, so his velocity, it will be v1 initial. Initial always, it's before the collision. Now makes an elastic head. When it tells you elastic, so make sure your kinetic energy and momentum both of them are conserved. With 14 kilogram raft, so I have a raft and this one moving to the right. So this is the first object. And this one is the second object. Raft is my second object, and this is his velocity, second object, so it will be v2. And it's initial, v2 initial. Now, this is before collision. After collision now. After collision, it means the final. The raft moved to the left, so I have to put negative sign, and it changes direction. And this one will be, this is second object, so it will be v2 final. Discard any effects of the water. Find the velocity of the canoe after collision. So I need the velocity of the first object after collision, which means the final velocity. All of this information, I have to write them here in a table. So here I have the first object is the canoe, the second object is the raft, and I write M1, V1, P1, kinetic energy 1. Similarly for the second object, M2, V2, P2, and kinetic energy KE2. I have to fill all the given. If you remember the first object, the canoe, 16, mass doesn't change, it will stay the same. Moving to the left, so it's negative 12.5, makes elastic collision with the raft. Okay, his mass is 14. This is the second object, so 14 does not change whether it's initial and final. They will have the same mass. Moving to the right with 16 meters per second, so 16 is positive. Now, after collision, it means the final now. The raft moves to the left. Move to the left, it means negative sign. Okay, what will be the velocity after collision? 14.4. So this one, negative 14.4 is negative. Find the velocity of the canoe. Canoe is the first object, which is I don't have it. So I have to write V1 final. Verify your answer by calculating the kinetic energy. That's why I add a column for the kinetic energy. All I need to do is just find the things in red, which means the momentum, mass times velocity, and kinetic energy. I have to apply the formula, which is what? Half m v1 square. Half the mass times the initial velocity square. You will get this number. After you finish filling up all of this information and finding the values, second step, you have to what to do now? Yes, I have to apply the conservation of momentum. Conservation of momentum, P initial equal P final. You go back to the table and you add all the initial values for the first object and the second object. Similarly, all the final values for the first object and second object. You will have an equation. Solve it, math now, and find the final velocity of the canoe. The final answer is positive, which means to the right. I have to check your answer. It's elastic collision. The kinetic energy initial should equal the kinetic energy final. Okay, so kinetic energy initial, the first object plus the second object. final. Similarly, first object, second object, because I don't have the velocity, so but now I calculate it, I can find it by half mass times the velocity. Once you add these numbers, you should get both values. In this case, the kinetic energy is conserved. Now, the other two questions, I'm going to upload the presentation, inshallah, with the my answer. As I told you before, I don't follow the same method of your textbook. I have my own method, and you see it's easier because you put everything in a table. I will post the answer, inshallah, on Sway and on Manage back the full answer, inshallah. So try to solve. You still have a question 3 and question 4. Solve them yourself and check your final answer on Sway. Good luck and have a nice day.